Episode number 65. The Church is the fulfillment of Israel, not the replacement of Israel. Text verse, Ephesians 2:14-16. For he is our peace, who hath made both one, and hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. 1. The common misunderstanding. Many Christians have been taught that Israel failed and was replaced by the church. Others teach that Israel and the church remain two separate peoples of God. The Bible presents another view. The church is not the replacement of Israel. The church is the fulfillment of Israel's calling through Jesus Christ. God did not abandon his promises. He fulfilled them in Christ. References: Romans 9:6-8, Romans 11:1-5, Matthew 5:17-2. Israel's purpose. God chose Abraham and his descendants for a redemptive mission. Through Israel came the covenants, the law, the prophets, and the Messiah. The goal was never Israel alone. God promised blessing for all nations through Abraham's seed. References: Genesis 12:1-3, Isaiah 49:6, Romans 9:4-5-3. Jesus became the true Israel. Israel was called God's son, but repeatedly failed. Jesus succeeded where Israel failed. Israel came out of Egypt. Jesus came out of Egypt. Israel entered the wilderness. Jesus entered the wilderness. Israel failed under testing. Jesus overcame temptation. Everything Israel was called to be found fulfillment in him. References: Exodus 4:22, Hosea 11:1, Matthew 2:15, Matthew 4:1-11:4. The church began within Israel. The first church was Jewish. Jesus, the apostles, and the first believers were all Jewish. The church began as the believing remnant gathered around the Messiah. This was not replacement, but fulfillment. References: Acts 2:1-41, Romans 11:5-5. Gentiles were added. Gentiles were not placed into a separate people of God. Paul says they were grafted into the existing olive tree. There was one tree, one covenant story, and one people under Christ. References: Romans 11:17-24, Galatians 3:7-9-6. One new man under the old covenant. A wall separated Jew and Gentile. Christ removed that wall. His purpose was to create one new humanity. Paul does not say Gentiles replaced Jews. He says Christ made both one. References: Ephesians 2:11-22, Colossians 3:11-7. Not all Israel is Israel. Physical descent never guaranteed covenant inheritance. Ishmael was Abraham's son, but not the heir. Esau was Isaac's son, but not the heir. Paul therefore declares that not all Israel is truly Israel. The covenant people were identified by God's promise and faith. References: Romans 9:6-13-8. Israel's mission fulfilled. Israel was called to be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation, and a light to the nations. Peter applies those same descriptions to believers in Christ. This is fulfillment, not replacement. References: Exodus 19:5-6, Isaiah 42:6, 1 Peter 2:9-10. 9. The AD 30 to AD 70 transition between Pentecost and AD 70. The Old Covenant was fading while the New Covenant was being revealed. Hebrews declared the old system was ready to vanish away. The fall of Jerusalem marked the end of the Old Covenant order. References: Hebrews 8:13, Matthew 24:34, Luke 21:20-24 10. Abraham's family fulfilled. All who belong to Christ are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Jew and Gentile stand on equal ground through faith. The promises made to Abraham reach their fulfillment in Christ. References: Galatians 3:16, Galatians 3:26-29, 11. The New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem contains the names of Israel's tribes and the apostles. It is one city, not two. One redeemed people united in Christ. References: Revelation 21:12-14, 12. Conclusion. The church is not Israel replaced, but Israel fulfilled. Jesus fulfilled Israel's calling, gathered the faithful remnant, welcomed believing Gentiles, and created one new humanity. The story of Israel reached its God-appointed goal in Christ. Through him, believing Jews and Gentiles became one body, one family, and one covenant people. References: Romans 11:26-27, Ephesians 2:19-22, Galatians 3:29.